Hi, hello, and welcome back to F1 Challenge Career Mode. My name is Mephisto, and today we're heading off to Hungary for round 13 of the 2001 Formula 1 season. Let's get started.
Located just a few kilometers from Budapest, the Hungaroring combines just one straight of note with a complex selection of slow to medium speed turns. Opinions on this circuit are very much divided, but whether you love or hate the venue, it appears to have a long-term future in the F1 calendar, being the only race hosted by a country from the former Eastern Bloc.
Here we are in qualifying at the end of our first flying lap, and we crossed the line with a time of 1:25.714. And now we jump to the third flying lap, because on my second try I was around 2 seconds slower. Anyway, this lap time was a 1:24.448, just a 1 second improvement over my first try. Anyway, see you on the grid.
Hello there. Welcome to Hungary for round 13 of the 2001 FIA Formula 1 World Championship. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. Juan Pablo Montoya first. Schumacher consistently outpaced his championship rival, the BAR driver. Hakkinen third. Ralf Schumacher fourth. Coulthard fifth. Raikkonen sixth. Barrichello seventh. Heidfeld eighth. Heinz-Harald Frentzen ninth. Irvine 10th. Jenson Button 11th. Verstappen 12th. Giancarlo Fisichella 13th. Jarno Trulli 14th. Fernando Alonso 15th. Alesi 16th. Olivier Panis just got the edge over his teammate. He starts from 17th. Berti 18th. Pedro de la Rosa 19th. Minardi 20th. The BAR driver 21st. Marquez 22nd.
And here we are on the grid. We're starting from 21st. This is not a very good position to be in, mainly because I'm not good at this track. Waiting for the lights to go out for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and we're off. To a very bad start. Tarso Marquez jumps me, and I wanted to kind of try and go around him and De La Rosa. However, there's not too much room on this narrow circuit, but I finally see a gap and go for it. We pass De La Rosa, Marquez, Berti, and there appears to be an incident. One of the Benettons was off, and I can also see the front wing from a Jordan. So now we need to find our way around the damaged cars as soon as possible. The more we are held up by them, the bigger the gap to the rest of the pack. But here's a replay of the start. For some reason, smoke is coming out of my tires even though I'm stationary. Anyway, we are off. Marquez quickly made his way past us, so we were momentarily in 22nd, but then, as we approached turn 1, I was able to pass him. And that was Alesi crashing into the Benetton of Jenson Button, and Trulli also made contact with Button. And we're now on board with Fisichella to have another look at the accident. There goes Alesi. He tries to get back into a single file, however Button was right there, so we crashed into him. That was quite a mess. We still need to find a way around these slow cars. And we pass Alonso. Next is Fisichella. We pass him on the outside. Bernold is next. We take care of him as well as Jarno Trulli. All that's left is John Alesi. Let's use a bit of his slipstream. We go to the outside, and since Alesi is missing his front wing, he has to brake a bit earlier for the corner. But we're now up in 12, and there's already a 10-second gap to the next car, which is the arrows of Jos Verstappen. So we've been held up quite a bit. A 10-second lead in just half a lap is a lot. Now we need to find a way to close that gap as quickly as possible. It's not going to be easy though, but we will try. We must. Our championship depends on our ability to score points. and it will be quite difficult for me at this track. Anyway, we are now coming around to finish the first lap of this 27 lap race, and it looks like the gap to the front runners is slowly increasing. This is not good. We need to pick up the pace. Even if we only score 1 point, I will still be pleased. It's not going to do much for us in terms of the championship, but at least we will keep increasing our total. On lap 10, after the first round of pit stops, I finally managed to catch up to the guys in front. That's right, everyone in front of us have already pitted, and that is what allowed us to catch back up to them. That's quite embarrassing, but it looks like we have a good one on Jos Verstappen, and we are now 11th, after almost half a race. This doesn't look good. Anyway, next we have Raikkonen and Frentzen. Let's see if we can now get around them as well. I sure hope so. A few corners later, I had a go on Raikkonen on the outside, but he was having none of that. So we'll need to find another way around him. Through this tight chicane, I try my luck on the outside again. That puts me on the inside for the second corner, but I'm too slow through there. Lap 12 now, I was still struggling with Raikkonen when Frentzen loses control of his car and I crash into him. There was simply no time for me to react. So now I have to pit early in order to change my front wing, as Verstappen easily whizzes past us. This is not an ideal situation. I was not really happy at this point. Here are some replays. First is our accident. We come into this tight chicane. I cut the corner quite a bit there, shame on me. Then as we exit the chicane, Frentzen loses control of his car and we crash straight into him. That was quite unexpected, to be honest. And now we have Nick Heidfeld. He comes through the tight chicane, cars slow down in order to get around the stricken Jordan. Frentzen then accelerates into the La Rosa and Nick Heidfeld hits the Jordan with just enough force to break his front wing. So, we are now coming in to replace our front wing, and since we are here, we might as well change our tires and take on some fuel. A full tank worth, in fact. That should be enough to see us through to the end of the race. But it also means that our stop is going to be quite a bit slower. After all, we are taking on 145 liters of fuel. So that stop was around 12 to 13 seconds. Now let's see where we end up once we rejoin the track, and figure out what we can do from here. So we rejoin NP11 and we have Alonso around 4 seconds ahead. Let's try and catch him. We are now on lap 19 and up in 9th, thanks to a few more cars having to pit. Heidfeld is right behind us, and because I went very wide through that right-hander, he did the sensible thing and passed us. So now we'll have to try and find our way around him once more. Anyway, here's a replay. We have Jarno Trulli in the Jordan with Kimi Raikkonen right behind him, looking for an opportunity to pass. He does that quite beautifully, but then the Jordan starts letting out a lot of smoke, and as Barrichello is coming out of the pits, he crashes into the Jordan. That was a stupid move on Trulli's part. He should have pulled over to the left, not to the right. I never really understood this about the AI. Quite often, when their car breaks down, they pull over in a manner that doesn't make any sense. That's not what a real driver would do in that situation, because a real driver would have known that that is where the cars leave the pit, and if he stops his car right there, it could become a potential hazard. But maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, let's try and catch Heidfeld. We are still chasing after Nick Heidfeld. Meanwhile, Bernoulli has had an accident. So let us see what happened. And here we have the arrows of Enrique Bernoulli. Hakkinen is coming around to lap him. Bernoulli turns in on Hakkinen, leaves no room, and that results in a collision, which ultimately ends with Bernoulli losing his rear wing. And since he was being lapped, he should have pulled to the side and slowed down. I know that in other series it's the slow cars that get to keep the racing line, and the faster cars have to find their way around. However, in Formula 1 it's the exact opposite of that. Man, I've been picking on the AI like a madman in this video. I should probably stop that. Anyway, we are on lap 20 and we're still chasing after Heidfeld. And there is an incident somewhere on the track, and we'll get to that in a second. But first, we came upon a lapped car, so let's see if we can use the back marker to our advantage and pass Heidfeld. Obviously, Heidfeld doesn't want to be passed, but if we play our cards right, we might just be able to slip past both Heidfeld and Bertie. I go on the outside through this left-hander, forcing the lapped car to stick to the outside. Fortunately, the track is quite narrow and we managed to go through and up into 8th. And I think this is the best we'll do this race. So here's the replay. Lacey is coming through the tight chicane, Coulthard is right behind him, preparing to pass Lacey. Lacey slides the car a bit at the exit of the chicane, then they come through the fast left-hander. Lacey turns in on the Scotsman, the McLaren goes underneath the Prost, flipping it over and sending it flying into the barrier. That was quite a violent scene. It reminds me of a crash from last season during the Japanese Grand Prix, which was quite similar, only the cars involved were different. Anyway, it's quite interesting to see mistakes being done during the closing stages of the race. Then again, it's the closing stages when everyone starts to really feel the pressure. Not to mention that everyone is quite tired by this point. This is lap 21 and here is a demonstration of how not to take a corner. Please make sure that the car is traveling at a speed that can carry it through the corner. Also make sure to turn in time. I'm actually amazed that the car didn't spin. Lap 24, and ever since Heidfeld overtook us a few laps ago when I decided to go off-roading, I was unable to pass him. Meanwhile, Marquez was having problems with his car. And here we have Tarso Marquez. He was just lapped by Schumacher, I believe. Not sure, I didn't really see the helmet. Anyway, Marquez just stops the car. Wait a minute, didn't the engineer say that there was smoke coming from his car? Yes, he did, so that's the world's most invisible smoke ever. I'm amazed he actually saw that. Anyway, we are now coming around to finish lap 24, and we get really close to Heidfeld. Let's see if we can pass him on the straight, make use of his slipstream, flick the car to the inside, and we're once again through. Let's hope that this time it stays like this, because we are running out of time, and another mistake will most probably end in losing our 8th place. And if this were 2003, we would be in the points, because in 2003 they awarded points to the top 8 as opposed to the top 6. And now, coming out of the final corner of the Hungarian Grand Prix, we only just managed to grab 8th place, and that's me weaving the car in the light. Because quite frankly, I did not expect to finish in the top 10. And considering we started in 21st, finishing 8th is quite an accomplishment. However, because we didn't score any points, our championship is quite in a pickle. And I think that at this point, the best we can hope for is to finish the season in 3rd. Maybe 2nd, but even that seems a bit too optimistic. After all, I'm not Tiamat Marduk to be able to pull off such a feat. But we'll have to wait and see how things turn out. Anyway, let's see the standings.
At the end of an amazing Hungarian Grand Prix, here are the final results. Juan Pablo Montoya first. Schumacher second. Hakkinen third. Ralf Schumacher fourth. Raikkonen fifth. Coulthard sixth. The BAR driver eighth. With the results confirmed, it's high time we updated the Drivers' Championship. Schumacher moves further ahead in the Drivers' Championship.
Michael Schumacher takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship with 62 points. Coulthard is second with 57 points. We are in third with 36 points, position which we share with Juan Pablo Montoya. Hakkinen is fourth with 33 points. In fifth we have Ralf Schumacher with 26 points. Nick Heidfeld is sixth with 22 points. Barrichello is 7th with 14 points. In 8th we have Irvine with 13 points. 9th is held by Raikkonen with 12 points. Button is 10th with 7 points. Frentzen is 11th with 6 points. And finally Verstappen is in 12th with 4 points.
McLaren still lead the Constructors' Championship, but with a reduced points advantage. Ferrari are second, whilst third place is held by Williams.
McLaren lead the Constructors' Championship with 90 points, Ferrari are second with 76 points, Williams are third with 62 points, our team is in fourth with 36 points, Sauber are fifth with 34 points, sixth are Jaguar with 13 points, seventh is held by Benetton with 7 points, in eighth we have Jordan with 6 points, and in ninth we have Arrows with 4 points. To be honest, I'm quite pleased with the outcome of this race. You might not agree with me, but for me, finishing in 8th at this track is nothing short of a miracle. Maybe with a bit more practice, I will be able to improve my pace. I guess we'll find that out next season. Speaking of which, we will be done with the 2001 season in 2 weeks' time, so we've once again reached that point in the season when I'm going to ask you guys to vote for the team you would like to see me drive for in the next season. As always, I will leave a list of the teams in the description box below, and for the first time, I will also include a link to a straw poll, which should make the voting process a bit easier. The rules are quite the same as before. You can vote for any team participating in the 2002 season. If there will be a tie, then I will pick the weaker team of the two. So if say both McLaren and Minardi have the same number of votes, then I will be driving for Minardi. Now, the poll will be open until midnight the 4th of December. That's midnight GMT, or 11 p.m. CET. And if like last time no one submits a vote until the deadline, then I will use a random number generator to decide the team I will be driving for. So, if you want to have an influence on my F1 career, make sure you visit the link in the description box below. With that out of the way, it's time to move on, and our next race will be the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, which is one of my all-time favorite tracks. In fact, as far as I know, Spa is on pretty much everyone's favorite track list. Anyway, until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.